Welcome, guys.
Hi.
I want to start off just by you probably already know who these guys are, but if you don't, what you guys actually do. So, JianHao, let's start with you. Talk about the type of content you do. Talk about what you do out there.
Okay, well, so I make videos. I make comedy videos on my main channel. I also have a family channel, which I do a lot of family content with my wife, with my daughter, and we have tons of channels, and from there we've built a marketing agency called Titan Digital Media, which also represents a lot of influencers.
Yeah, and you're quite a storyteller. I mean, you actually tell great stories and
Thank you.
And build people around those stories very much in a sequential way, kind of like Netflix almost. So very cool. Ming, talk about what you're building and what you're doing.
So similar to JianHao, I do videos, but I focus on short form vertical videos. So my main channels are mostly on TikTok. So some of the people might know me as the son who always got pranked by my dad, Daddy Ming. Yeah. So.
Yeah, you're also a pretty darn good athlete as well, right?
Yes, yeah. So before I was doing videos, I was actually training full time for the Olympic qualifiers until COVID happened, and yeah, we can't really train properly, and I just turned to making content full time.
Yeah, that's awesome. So let's talk a little bit about brands here. I want to ask each of you about a successful brand deal that you worked on and go into a little bit more detail on it. And we'll kind of try and ping pong back and forth and have a conversation about it, because you guys should do the talking here, not me. But JianHao, let's start with you. Give me an example of a successful brand deal that you've done in the last couple of years.
Okay, just because Ming Wei is here, I'm going to give you the example of Disney Plus. We actually worked on Disney Plus.
Yeah, the two of you together.
No.
No? Okay.
For some reason, Ming Wei was in the area on the night that I was editing this video. So he actually came into my house and watched me edit the video. He just sat there for like 4 hours watching me edit this video. So yeah, I'm going to bring up that example. I think the Disney Plus, the Disney Plus campaign was one of our more successful campaigns. Basically, we did an omni-channel campaign where we did some TikToks for Disney Plus. We did a YouTube video on the main channel, and we did some other videos as well. So it was all for the launch of Disney Plus, and we were really happy that the engagement was really high, and it was a big success.
So it wasn't just a one-shot deal either. They came in and over a longer period of time and across multiple channels worked with you, right?
Yes. So it was actually multiple channels, all for the launch itself.
Yep. So what'd you learn, Ming, when you were watching him edit?
Oh, I was very amazed. Like there was actually a lot of hard work put in every video. So maybe 8-minute videos or 10-minute videos you see online, it takes like many hours of filming, editing, scripting, and a lot of hard work is put into it. Yeah.
That's awesome. I want to sit and watch you edit. Ming, talk about a brand that you worked with that was successful and give me some sense of why it was successful.
So for me, one of the more successful brand deal that I work with is with mobile apps. So particularly Kart Rider Rush. It was a game by Nixon. Mm-hmm. So I was just promoting the game, and I created a short form video based on it. And I think for the brand itself, it allows me to express my creativity where I can do it similar to my content style, just that I just show the game being played, and actually it gathers a lot of questions like what game was I playing, and it had quite a lot of downloads from it. Yeah.
Yeah, so talk about these deals and how they started, how the brands came to you, how you guys figured out what to do and what that give and take was like. Ming, let's start with you. Talk about what it was like when they came to you and how you figured out what you would do and how you worked with them to make sure that it fit your community.
So usually when they reach out, they can reach out in various platforms, either through the agencies or them directly from emails or DMs, and usually they ask for a meeting, and then we will just throw out some ideas, and we propose some ideas to them, and then they will work on there'll be some back and forth where we make the ideas, and then we will start filming them and sending them the draft and making more suggestions based on what they comment on. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, did they come to you and say, this is what we want to do and we want you to do it, or was it more of a collaboration?
So they will give the campaign objective and what they want from the content itself. Yeah, and what is their goal? Is it like just awareness or downloads or website traffic? It can be based on their campaign objective.
Yeah, and how much control did you have over the content that you put in front of your community?
So it depends on the brand itself. So for a more successful brand collaboration, it's usually those where I have more creativity. And yep.
Yeah, absolutely, because it appeals to your audience more, right?
Yep.
Okay, JianHao, let's go over to you. Talk about how Disney first came to you and how that happened and kind of what the brief was like and how you ended up creating all these great videos across the different platforms.
So for us, we've been working with Disney for some time already. We've done campaigns with them in the past, but it's a little bit different because we actually have an agency called Titan Digital Media. So Titan actually works with Disney Plus to plan out the campaign. So we as an agency, we get to work with the creators and Disney Plus to all come together and come up with the content. So I think we really appreciate that as agencies and as creators like ourselves because we get a lot of creative control. And to answer your question that you asked to Ming, we actually got a lot of creative control when it came to what we wanted to put out. The client was completely understandable on what kind of content we usually do, and usually this kind of collaboration gets the best engagement.
Yeah, and what is it about the collaborations that give great engagement? What are the elements that go into it that you found came out of that? Just 2 or 3 examples.
I think you really have to understand what your audience wants. I mean,
yep.
For every creator, we have a strong connection with our audience, and understanding what the audience wants to see and bringing in part of the brand into the content is what really works for us.
Yeah, so it's not really going out and just creating an ad for a brand.
No.
Right? It's actually trying to make content that works for your audience, but doing it with the brand as a participant. Ming, is that right? Tell me about, yeah.
I think it's similar to movies where you don't mind watching a movie even though there's a lot of brands in it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, talk about from the experience that you were sharing with us. What was it when the brand came to you? Did they tell you what audience they were looking for? Did they give you a sense of the platforms they wanted to go on, or was it just up to you?
It depends on the brand, but I think when brands reach out to me, it's particular for TikTok because now there's more popularity in short form videos, and when brands come to me, it's mostly just for short form videos.
So you were telling me before, and I didn't realize this, that you're actually bigger on Facebook than TikTok, and no?
No.
Oh, sorry, I thought you said that.
Yeah.
No, we were talking about Instagram. So you're on Instagram.
I'm on Instagram too, but TikTok is my main.
TikTok is your
channel.
primary. Okay, cool. I totally misunderstood. It's what happens when you fly 18 hours to come here. Totally space out. All right, we're going to move into a little bit about maybe some bad stories or maybe things that didn't quite work out. So, don't take any brands down, but, if you could talk for a minute and a little bit about maybe something that didn't work, maybe a partnership that didn't work out, and kind of why. And, obviously, the whys are going to be spread out across a lot of different areas, but, try and share some examples of why things might not have worked out, and then what the takeaways are and how to make sure you don't do that. So, JianHao, let's start with you.
Yeah, I'll start. Okay, so it actually happened a month ago, and my team is actually here, so they completely understand the agony of working with this brand. Obviously, I'm not going to put any names, but basically, 2 months ago, okay, so let's just call this a brand A, right? They have a product that the team is actually huge fans of. We do play it, and we play with it all the time. So when we got this brand deal, we were actually pretty excited. They went through an agency, of course, and the agency went through us. So we came out with a timeline, and I think the really tough part is I don't want to complain, but the tough part is when we come up with a timeline, it's very difficult for us to not follow it, because what happens on our channel is that we upload weekly episodes. So it's like you mentioned earlier, it's like Netflix where it comes episode after episode.
Right.
And when you miss one, you can't just let's move it to next week. That's not how it works. So because it's story based, right? So what happened was they weren't able to stick with the agreed timeline, so we had to push it back. So when we push it back, we had to write a completely new script, complete different shoot, and we actually had to add a shoot which wasn't part of the story in. So we missed one video, and so we worked on the second video, right? Okay, script approved, everything approved, concept approved. We sent the draft, and because we have 5 days before upload, so it's very tight. And they were overseas; they were not in Singapore, so it was quite afar, and there was time difference, and it made us really anxious. We're like, can we put this up this week? If we can't, everything else is going to snowball. What about the other brands that are coming in November and December? It's going to be a mess. So we called them, and their response was, the agency literally said they did not want to share the video with the client because they felt it was awkward. So I mean, as an agency, we do understand that. Of course, agency, you wanna do your part in it, right? But I think it's a bit strange to have this sort of behavior, and for YouTubers, it can get very difficult. So I think this was one of the really tough part. I mean, I'm sure they had their reasons. Maybe they were a little bit afraid that the draft was a bit too different from what they expect. I don't know what they expected, but yeah.
Well, I guess there's two lessons I can think about there. Let me see if this resonates with you. One is understand if you're going to work with creators, what their flow is, what their production schedule is, what the type, what they make, how they make it.
Yeah.
Make sure you fit into that. But it's also, don't let your agency figure out what you should be doing. You better know what content they do before they come to you. Like, it sounds like they didn't even know kind of what you were doing.
Yeah, but I also understand from the client's perspective or from the brand's perspective as well, because, I mean, not all brands are good at marketing. So they just trust an agency to do it. So that's where it gets a little bit tricky. So we don't know who is actually blocking this process, but it just didn't work out.
Yeah, totally. Ming, talk about one that maybe didn't work out as well and kind of why.
So for me, similar to JianHao, I was dealing with an overseas agency for a Singapore project. So they rushed me for it, and they want it to be done in like 1 or 2 days. So I just rushed it out, and they said that we have to film at specific locations in Singapore, like 3 of them. So the thing is, I rushed down. My team went there. It was really hot. It was like 40 degrees, and maybe not 40, like 30, 38. I remember that was very hot. So when we went down there, and so there was like a painting on the wall. So when we went there, we didn't see the painting in the picture. So we asked the owner, the restaurant owner, I said that, where is this painting? And they said that they were supposed to start painting like that week. So they wanted the video to be out that day, and so we couldn't like film with the painting. So they said that I should just like post edit it in. So I was a bit confused. So we went to all locations, and all locations didn't have the painting that was stated, and they didn't give the exact location too. So we were just like running around Singapore, and we just tried to film what we could also. Yeah.
Yeah, and would you work with either of these two brands again, either of you guys?
I would say for this, it's not really the brand's fault. I would say that it's more of the agency's fault that they didn't really communicate well with the brands itself, or didn't make sure everything was ready for the creators.
Yeah, Jin, how would you work with them again?
Yeah, of course we wouldn't say no, but but of course we would require a stronger process this time and a longer timeline. Because I mean, they really rushed us for the timeline, but they didn't stick to it. So that was the tough part.
All right, so you got a bunch of marketers here in the audience, a bunch of CMOs and other people that work with brands and market. What's the one thing that you wish all these people at every marketer understood about working with creators? JianHao, I'm going to start with you.
I would say that all creators are different, and all creators have a different process. And I think there's always a misconfusion on what a brand or an agency expects of the influencer. So I think these are some things that need to be communicated earlier. But I think in short, all influencers are different.
Yep. Ming, how about you? What are the one thing you wish that brands and agencies knew about working with creators?
So yeah, to tap on JianHao's point, like all creators are different. So sometimes they come up with a brief and they expect everyone to do the same thing. And I think it's more of them trying to respect each creator's like creativity, so that when they launch a campaign, it's not like 5 of the same campaigns, like 5 different campaigns based on each creator's strengths. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really respect the community, respect the audience, respect the creators, respect the type of content they make, and fit yourself into that. Don't try and shape it to your own needs, right?
Yep.
Actually, yes and no, because coming from an agency point of view, because now I'm creator and
Right.
I'm agency.
You see both
I see
sides.
both sides, because I used to be under an agency in the past, and now I am the agency as well. So I do understand that sometimes it's a little bit difficult to work with creators, because most creators are artists, right? And they all have a little bit of well, they have their own style. They want to stick to their own creative control. Sometimes they feel like even though the brand is paying them, they don't want to overshow the brand, which could be a little bit difficult if the brand is paying and not getting their returns, right? So I think there has to be a fine balance. It's the agency or the brand is not always the bad guy.
Right. Okay. So, fair point. Let's turn it around. For marketers and brands, what's one of those things? What's one of that big opportunity about working with creators that you want to make sure that marketers and brands and agencies know when you're thinking about, should we work with creators? Should we run an advertisement? Should we put up a billboard? What's the one thing or the two things that really, that's why you want to work with a creator? And Ming, I'm going to start with you. What's that one thing you want to tell them? This is why you want to work with us.
So one of the ways is to see whether the creator, do they fit to your branding? Like there's no point in finding random creators and like asking them to promote a product. You must make sure that whatever they do fits your brand. And so you will not be seen as they're just doing the video for the sake of doing, but like they really can sort of endorse the brand so that it adds credibility to the brand also.
Yep. Yeah, adding that credibility, absolutely. JianHao, what about you?
I think it's cool. I think it's cool to work with a creator, and it's fun, and it puts a human touch onto your campaign. I think that's the most important thing. It puts a human touch, and it's not just all corporate or just sales and expected returns. It's really having a fun campaign, making something cool and creative, and something that everyone can be proud of.
Yeah, and really cutting through. I mean, I think Stefano from Tubular showed that off when he was talking about your channel. It's like, you want to sell school supplies to an audience? Well, this is the guy you go to. I thought that's great, and I'm psyched to see more from them on that. We have a couple of minutes left, and I want to talk for each of you guys about the future. Going forward for both you guys, and JianHao, we'll start with you. Are you going to be working more or less with brands, or will you be doing more of your own stuff?
We are always doing our own stuff, regardless whether we have brand deals or not. But for sure, we are always working with brands, and we are always trying to push the boundaries and trying to come up with the best campaigns possible. So yeah, for sure, we're looking at working with brands even more.
All right, Meg, what about you? Working more with brands, less with brands going forward?
I think, of course, similar to JianHao is to work more with brands because that's like the main source of revenue to keep creating more content. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about revenue for a minute. Are you working, building yourself up as a direct-to-consumer brand? Are you creating products and selling them? Are you doing other things beyond just advertising? Ming, start with you.
So, of course, on my side, I'm also trying to create like a brand, but it's not as easy as it seems. So I really respect all the brands for building to such a respectable brand. So moving forward, I'm still trying to work on it. Yeah.
Yeah, you need the brands and marketers as much as they need you. What about you, JianHao?
It's a really good question. We created our own game this year. So it's a game that we pushed out and there were in-app purchases. So of course that definitely helped the revenue. We got 150,000 downloads in the first week. So that was so crazy for us. And it had such a huge reaction. And there's a lot of people on YouTube. There are a lot of YouTubers playing our game on YouTube. So I think that was pretty cool. But aside from that game, aside from an app, we also created a few brands. We are working with a few of our KOLs, our influencers, to create their own brands. And I think that's really cool because I think as Titan, we're not just representing the influencer, we're teaching them, and at the same time, we're encouraging them to be entrepreneurs. So we've started a few brands, and there's going to be a lot more in 2022.
All right. So both of you, JianHao, starting with you, pick the perfect brand you want to work with. Who's the brand that you wish you could work with, you want to work with, and you're like, man, this would be a dream.
Honestly, I have a lot of happy collaborations already. If you're asking me, my perfect one would be Mobile Legends, Bang Bang. I'm just gonna say it because they've literally been one of the best clients, the best brands that have worked with us, and they are so open to our concepts, and they have full trust in us, and that is what a creator can ask for. That's all we ask for them to trust us.
Trust
and,
us, yeah.
And we always deliver.
All right, how about you? Who's the perfect brand?
Well, actually, it's the same as JianHao. So recently, I played the game
You're the
because
best, right?
I played the game and I get hooked on the game now, and I spend many hours on the game now. So I would really want to represent a brand that I truly like play and believe in too. Yeah.
All right, well, we only have a couple seconds left, so real quick, Ming, where can people find you? What's the channel name on TikTok?
On all channels, you can find me on @MingWeiRocks, like be on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on TikTok. Yeah.
All right, go sign up for him. What about you, JianHao? Where can people find you?
You can find me on YouTube. Just Google my name. You'll see me there.
Great stuff.
hope so.
Subscribe, follow, watch, and if you're a brand or an agency and it works, you should be sponsoring these guys. They're amazing. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.